Do you ever get the feeling that you can't leave the house because you're too gassy, you're constipated, you're grouchy? Who wants to go out like that? And nothing that you try really gets you any relief. I was in the same position, and this year I have alleviated all of my symptoms after battling my gut health for 3 whole years. Today I'll share with you just how I healed my gut health and improved my digestion naturally using the 4 major milestones that moved the needle in my healing journey. Watch until the end for a bonus tip about something that I learned after the fact that could get you relief so much faster than I did. Take a deep breath because this is about to get a whole lot simpler. Hi friend, it's your girl Serena. I'm here to teach you what a healthy gut lifestyle and diet looks like so that you can reclaim your energy and do what the heck you want to do in your life. If you're overwhelmed about what you should be eating, how you should be shopping for your gut health, I have a free grocery guide, Getting Gut Happy, which I have linked below. Before I can share the first milestone of how I healed my gut and improved my digestion naturally, you have to get some background. Let me know if you can relate to this in the comments. When you woke up and you ate breakfast, it looks something like this. And you had lunch and it looks something like this. And maybe you washed it down with something like this. And sometimes when you had dinner, it looked like this. A lot of that was either frozen or put in a microwave or, fast, convenient food. I had a parent that was busy, didn't have the energy, didn't have the income to be able to cook a fresh meal every single day for each one of my meals. That's totally understandable. And she was doing the best she could. However, I kept eating like that until I was a young adult, and it put me on a trajectory to being overweight by the time I was 20. And I felt like caca. I did not care about my gut health at that point. I really wanted to do something about my confidence. I really wanted to change my life trajectory. I started working out and I became vegan. I didn't have any idea that my gut health was bad, even though whenever I would have dairy, I had the worst gas. My priorities were, I want to feel good when I take selfies. And so I did what I did at the time and it worked actually. I lost 35 pounds and that was cool. But something that I want to highlight for you, which was like the biggest milestone to my gut healing journey at that time, I cut out a lot of the processed foods that I was eating out of my diet entirely. Fast forward a year later, I was still vegan. I wasn't really feeling that energy that I got initially when I first started it. I was losing a lot of hair. I was having worsening depression. And so I did begin to incorporate meat back into my diet again. And I won't blame those symptoms on being vegan necessarily. I think I just stressed out my body by making too much of a drastic change all at once. In retrospect, maybe being vegan wasn't the best long-term solution for me, but what was a great solution was that I was no longer eating those ultra-processed foods. I won't go into detail here about why ultra-processed foods are so bad. Like, that's a whole can of worms. So now I'm not saying that I'm perfect. Every once in a while, I do have something like pizza. I love pizza, but every time I eat it, I remember like, ooh, this is why I do not eat like this because it tears up my gut again. I know many of us have nostalgia and mesh with many of the processed foods that we grew up eating. For me, that's like Oreos or Nutter Butters. I used to love that stuff. If your goal is to be healing your gut, you have to realize that this is actually an obstacle to healing your gut. Maybe in your memory is where all of that should stay. Pleasant, not causing you any sort of negative symptoms anymore. Consider it this way. If you want to heal your gut naturally, you have to eat natural foods. You have to eat in a way that is aligned with your goals. And there is nothing natural about this. So now that I've made myself the enemy of most of the food that's in the grocery store, you're still here and you're like, I've already done that, or you're still listening even though your heart is a little bit broken, the next step is to get professional help. Do not wait, like I did, until your symptoms are absolutely unbearable. I could not get out of bed in the morning. It was really, really difficult. I was late for work almost every single day. My bloating was really atrocious. I just didn't know what else I needed to be doing because I thought I was eating really healthy. I cooked most of my meals at home. What else do I need to be doing? I saw a professional finally. I invested the money in myself and in my care to seeing a naturopathic doctor. Shout out to Dr. Brian Dysbiosis. Sorry if I messed up your name. He also has a YouTube channel, so I'll link that down below as well so you can check out his content if you want some of his help. Back with the story. I saw him. He listened to me talk about all my symptoms, everything that was wrong for probably about an hour. And the solution that he came up with, or the conclusion based off of what I said, was that I was suffering from gut dysbiosis. And if you're like, what the heck is this? Gut dysbiosis is lack of diversity in the gut. That could be attributed to several things, but basically, I think what happened to me was that I took way too many antibiotics that were, actually prescribed to me by my doctor for other health issues that kind of were killing the good gut bacteria, and that affected my digestion. As a result, the solution for that was for me to take a food sensitivity test. I did that in clinic, which is basically I just pricked the side of my finger, I put the blood on a card, and the card was sent to a lab, and they test that blood with many different foods to see what is going to have an immune response. Once I did a follow-up and I got the results of that, I was astonished about how many foods were causing an immune response inside of me. Many of them were things that I ate almost every day. The list was long. I can share the list. I'll try and put it up on screen or something. Some of the foods that I ate all the time that I now was being told by the doctor, like, okay, for this next month, 30 days or 28 days, I'd like you to not have at all, which I didn't have coffee, beer, soy, I'm trying to remember, but those were kind of the biggest ones that I was like, dang, I eat those all the time. And, almonds. Oh my gosh, almond milk I had all the time as well. Some of the other things that came up on that list were garlic, ginger, things that are considered healthy but were like causing some sort of inflammation inside of me. I just kind of either had it less or laid low. Wheat was another one, and eggs. Oh my gosh. So yeah, I just had those much less. And it worked like a charm. It really did. I felt a lot better. I didn't have as much inflammation after I kind of had eliminated those foods from my diet. I already wasn't having dairy, which is one of the things that came up on there as being sort of inflammatory for me. Yeah, but before you are like, oh, let me add that to my Amazon cart, I'll go get one right now, I'll take it, because there are so many. You can just order online, take it by yourself, and like do the same thing that I'm talking about. Before you do that, spend the money on that. I want you to listen to this podcast or watch the video from the Heal Thyself podcast, hosted by Dr. G. Learn for yourself what this all really means, and then decide if it's worth it to you, if you want to spend the money on it, because the result of that could be misleading, okay? For me, it worked great, and I'm not saying necessarily for you it will be the same. Everybody's healing journey is different. So you got to decide if that's something that you want to invest in. Now, we can move on. The third key to improving my digestion was to invest in organic foods for things that I ate all the time. Like I mentioned before, I would have almond milk all the time. Now I exclusively drink organic almond milk. And my bread is organic, and my eggs are organic. Those are things that I eat almost every single day. I didn't grow up eating this way, right? I didn't trust that organic was even a real thing, or maybe just some sort of marketing scheme to get you to pay more money for food. But no, it turns out that like conventionally grown produce is very heavily sprayed with pesticides and herbicides, and the most popular one of I believe is herbicide is glyphosate or Roundup. If you look into the research of Roundup, there is so many indications that this is something that's potentially cancerous and harmful for our gut microbiome. And once I learned that, I was like, oh, hell no. All of the things that are really heavily sprayed are the most common crops, like soy, corn, canola. I can put a list. I'll put a list for you because I don't have it on the top of my head. But those are things that we eat all the time, and then we're ingesting some of that, and it's harmful to us. So I was like, ooh, okay, organic. We need to go organic, especially for these things that are the nasties. There's a list called the Dirty Dozen and the Clean 15, which is kind of like determining which are the most heavily concentrated glyphosate sprayed produce and like some that are still clean. I have those lists in my grocery guide as well. You don't have to have them memorized. I don't have them memorized. I just use it with me when I go grocery shopping. I don't buy all organic, because I know people are going to be like, Serena, who has the money to go all organic? I get it, girl. It's not everybody who has all the money to do that, and you don't have to. You can invest wisely, okay? Just the things that you eat all the time. Yay! All of that is comprehensive in my grocery guide. You're welcome. Now, this fourth one, sort of controversial, and I'll get into why, but for me, I ditched seed oils. Depending on who you ask, they might have a different opinion about this, but for me, this works. What are seed oils? Some of them are just basically the most conventional cooking oils that you'll find. canola, soy, like vegetable oil, which is a combination of those, corn, cottonseed. There's so many. I ditch those. I don't buy them. I don't cook with them. And I also don't buy products that have those oils in them. And I'll tell you why. Because a lot of them are made from those same crops that I mentioned just earlier that are heavily sprayed with glyphosate. And you're trying to tell me that they're fine, that they're safe? Like, make that make sense. That doesn't make sense. And you're like, oh, who's saying that? Who's saying that it's safe? Most conventionally trained dietitians, maybe even your primary care physician would say there's nothing wrong with these oils. In fact, they're a better choice as opposed to animal fats because they're heart healthy. I read this book called Deep Nutrition that kind of like blew my mind. I had some cognitive dissonance about all of that. It was really like, no, we have it entirely backwards, sisters. Backwards. Seed oils is something that we just started having, like we just started consuming, using, and cooking in the past like 100 years or so. Look at the increase in disease in this time. It's not the only thing that we can attribute all this disease to, but some of the people in the alternative health space are very skeptical of seed oils. They think that this is a really big driver of disease. And then in my experience, when I eat things cooked in those oils, I feel like I ditched it and I feel better. And lo and behold, my digestive fire is blazing now. That in combination with all of the things I mentioned before really put me on another level of I do not feel bloated anymore. I don't feel constipated. My poop is more regular. Okay? I feel so much better, and now I can share all that with you. And even though it took me a whole 3 years to figure all of that out, assemble all of the resources and really educate myself, I'm really grateful that now I'm feeling great and I can share this with people. So now you've made it to the last tip to help improve your digestion if you are in the business of trying to rebuild your digestion, is to eat warm and soft foods. This is something that I learned in the IHP program that I'm currently enrolled in. If your gut is having a hard time, either you don't have enough of a diversity of bacteria or you don't have enough stomach acid, eating soft foods that are warm is going to be much easier for you to access all of the nutrients in your food so much better. A way that you can do that to make sure that your foods are soft, solid things that you've cooked. You use the fork test. I made a video about that on my Instagram, which you could feel free to follow me. Find that little tip out too. And another thing is just going for things like soup and broth and purees, and you don't have to actually eat baby food, but baby your tummy, okay? I was gonna say I'm baby. Extremely cringe, I know. Now you understand the 4 things that I use, plus the bonus tip of how you can help your digestion, the things that helped me. The first one was to knock it off with the ultra processed foods. And the second thing was, I got professional help. And the third thing was to invest organic where you can. The fourth thing was to ditch seed oils. And the fifth thing is to eat warm and soft foods. Thanks so much for sticking around. If you found this helpful, give it a like. I would appreciate it so much. I put a lot of effort into this video for you. Not to guilt trip you or anything, but I really would appreciate it so much. If you want to see future videos about gut healing, learning more about the IHP program, feel free to subscribe if you're so interested. See you next time. Goodbye.